Welcome to the Graveside Entertainment Podcast, hereby known as Gravecast, and we will have two special guests. We've got Vampyre Mike from Sega CD and GodzMassacre, whose old hat and wears the pig mask on our channel. And I'm your host, Hellghastly, and I'm naked right now.
Hello, Hellghastly.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man.
No problem.
All right, so one of the first things that's on my mind that I want to talk about is the state of horror in gaming right now, being as we're predominantly a horror-based website and channel. What do you guys think about the state of horror in gaming right now and where it is compared to where it was previously in years past and stuff?
God, do you want to go off on this one first, or you want me to?
Oh, you can start, man.
Okay. Hellghastly, you mind?
You gotta go ahead, man.
So, I'm a big guy with subtlety. I think that games like Condemned and games like the original Silent Hill series, 1 through 4 or 1 through 3 more so, had a great subtle atmospheric, fucked up feeling to where you don't know what's around the corner. Like, it's kind of like that, wait, what the hell is going to happen next? I think too much of it now is in your face. I think especially with the surge in people liking zombies and zombie movies and vampires, it's all like kind of been pumped up the past maybe, 5 or 10 years. That Twilight and all this crap they put out now, that it's not subtle enough. It's too much in your face. There's no ambiguity, or you know what I'm saying. It's not ambiguous anymore. You don't have that feeling of horror, like, well, what's around that corner? Is something going to pop out? It's just in your face and too much out there. I don't know, especially with, I know I had mentioned this previously, with the Resident Evil series, they kind of just throw it in your face now, made it sort of an action game.
Yeah, they've definitely gone to more of an action format as of like Resident Evil 5 and 6. I think especially when 5 came out, that was one of the biggest complaints from hardcore fans of the series, saying that they pushed it too far towards an action perspective and lost some of that scare factor and some of the horror stuff that made the original game so good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, Resident Evil's still good. I still think, but I played the demo and it didn't feel like Resident Evil anymore. Kind of like with Silent Hill Homecoming, if you guys have played that, it was good. Yeah. What'd you think about it?
It seemed like they were more trying to go with what the movie was about than what the games were about. They totally strayed from the games and made it like the movie, which is more action and more constant something going on, whereas it was always subtle and it was a journey before, and it wasn't really a journey anymore.
Yeah, I agree. It felt more like linear action sequences with Silent Hill set pieces. And I mean, I liked it, but if I wanted an action game, I'd be playing Gears of War, I don't want to do dodge moves and flips and shit in Silent Hill.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
That's pretty much where I'm at too with the Resident Evil series in particular. It's just that I find that the latest game, specifically Resident Evil 6, it certainly feels like they're trying to build Gears of War 3 within Resident Evil's engine, and therefore you're limited by the movements and the controls and too many bullshit QuickTime events and things like that popping up constantly it's kind of like they're trying to force you into this action game and saying, well, we're going to do an action game here with this particular campaign for Chris, and then with Leon, we're going to go back and look at Resident Evil 4 and do some of the scary atmospheric stuff that we did previously. And it's kind of like they're trying to feed you a buffet of games and give you a bit of everything and a taste of everything. But at the end of the day, like when you walk away from it, most of the buffet tastes like shit because nothing's been focused on.
Right. If they tried to cook a better meal, cook one great meal as opposed to like 5 mediocre meals, I think that, like you said, if the recipe was as good as it was supposed to be, and they did one, I think in the end result would probably pay off in spades.
But then again, on the other side of the coin too, I mean, I know GodzMassacre loves 6 and he likes it for all the diversity and how much action and all sorts of different elements it has, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the one thing about horror gaming now compared to before is you're not wondering what's around the next corner because there's always something around the next corner. You never
Yeah.
have a dull moment anymore, and I think that's kind of just it's a sign of the times. People have less of an attention span, and well, I mean, they might not, but developers are assuming that they do, and so they're having everything around the next corner so that there's constantly something going on, so that no one ever says, "Oh, that's a boring game." It's never a boring game. There's always something going on and something crazy going on. But yeah, I mean, when you have so much of stuff, you definitely lose the effect of that memorable experience because it all just, gets blended together in the end.
Yeah, it's like having a good day every day. After a while, what's a good day because you don't have a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like getting a blowjob every day. They're great, but if you hold off and you don't get one for a week or two, they're fantastic.
yeah, I was gonna go there sort of, but I stopped myself and then you went there, so I feel better about myself now. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about it. I like Resident Evil 6, but and it's something that I'll probably play over and over again. And people say it's not scary. It made me jump a few times, but not nearly as much as it has in the past. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great game. I think that you're kind of trying to give people what the people supposedly want, and like I said, they're just trying to make sure that they don't have a boring game. And I think if people were playing something like a Resident Evil 2 nowadays, they might put it down.
But I mean, that's the thing, though, is that the core Resident Evil audience that loved the first few games, and I should say the first 4 games of the series, when 5 came out, everybody was crying about the emphasis on action and how adding Sheva in as a co-op partner made the game a lot less atmospheric and frightening because you're not experiencing the journey alone anymore. You've got, someone there to handle it with you. And it seems that with all those complaints and all the issues that people had with 5, Capcom has gone exactly the opposite direction from what the fans were asking for when they were looking for more of that single-player experience, and they've gone to like an all-out co-op action game, and I think that's a big part of why 6 wasn't received very well.
I mean, they say that you don't want co-op in a Resident Evil game, but at the same time, how many times do we all talk about how if a game isn't co-op or multiplayer in some way nowadays, it's pretty much a worthless game?
I guess it depends on the genre, because for me, when I'm playing a game, specifically like a survival horror game, I want to be alone, and I want to feel vulnerable, I want to feel scared, and I want that tension to be there. I don't need to have a friend with me talking to me, telling me, about his day at the office or about that fantastic blowjob he just received. I want to be playing it by myself so that I'm immersed in that atmosphere. And I mean, yeah, for a game like Borderlands 2, definitely. I want to play it with more friends, want to have the good time. But for survival horror, I find it doesn't really work. It detracts and takes away from the experience and the environment, having someone else with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't really consider it survival horror anymore at this point.
Yeah, I agree. And, you guys just brought up a good point. I guess you kind of even touched upon this, so I might be repeating it, but would a game like Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, and Resident Evil 1, 2, I guess 3 as well, or whatever, I kind of stopped, it's probably blasphemy here, but any of the Resident Evil games much, would they do well now? If you put out a Silent Hill 2 right now where the game is more atmospheric, there is some fighting, there's a lot of, checking broken doors and fog and all that crap.
A lot of backtracking.
Yeah, would it do well, or would people be bored with it in 10 minutes?
I mean, I guess that's hard to say. It probably depends on the audience and the age of audience and where they're coming from and what they've played in the past. Because, I mean, a game like Alan Wake is very action-focused and heavy on the action, but they've done it in a unique way with the flashlight and not going guns blazing, and it's got a lot of unique things about it that are, just the way the atmosphere and being in the woods alone and constantly being surrounded by darkness. I mean, it's still action-packed and lots of stuff happening, but there's a lot of unique elements and spices and flavor thrown into that meal that make it a lot better and grander in scope than something like Resident Evil 6, where it seems like the well is just run dry and they've run out of ideas, so they're throwing everything in, including the kitchen sink.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think Alan Wake is especially a good example because they really tried something different with that. They made it episodic, sort of like Alone in the Dark. I don't know if you guys played Alone in the Dark on PS3 and 360. It was terrible, but
yeah, it's the only one I played.
it was so bad. The controls were. What'd you say?
I played on the Wii.
Oh, okay. The controls were. I don't know how it was on the Wii with the motion, but the controls were really bad. But the game looked cool. The ideas were interesting, and they did like an episodic format where they explained to you what happened, like last episode of Alone in the Dark. And they did the same thing with Alan Wake. And Alan Wake added some really cool new stuff to the table. It was creepy enough. It was interesting enough. It was actiony enough. It kind of like Hellghastly saying, it kind of had that feel of they threw all different kinds of spices into the pot, but they had a perfect amount of each. It wasn't too much of one or the other, I felt.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I'm a late bloomer for Alan Wake because I just picked it up and started playing it all of 2-3 weeks ago. And I mean, how long has that game been out? 2 years?
Did you beat it?
No, I haven't yet. I'm still going through and kind of easing into it. It makes me feel like I'm playing a Stephen King novel or something, or like you said when we talked, it's reminiscent of the Twin Peaks television show, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's that between that game and Deadly Premonition, I feel like David Lynch should just start suing people because I mean they're like practically stealing his crap in ways. It's great though. I love the series. I love David Lynch's work and Twin Peaks especially. So it's Twin Peaks to a umpteenth degree. If you watch, have either of you seen the show?
Yeah. I was just actually going to ask, is there any characters cradling a log?
In Alan Wake?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's actually like a log lady, but they do have a lot of references and like coffee references. I think you pick up coffee pots in the game. Like
you pick up thermoses, yeah.
Thermoses, yeah.
Oh,
and,
nice.
They reference. I think it's like a logging town, isn't that right? Like
yeah,
kind of like a.
Yeah, there's logging shit everywhere.
Yeah, so that's I don't know.
That's exactly like Twin Peaks, yeah.
And I mean, when I was playing it, my Twin Peaks were certainly ready to go.
If you have Twin Peaks, you're in trouble, buddy.
No, I mean the nipples.
Oh, okay.
Relaxing.
Either your wife is a very lucky woman or something's really wrong at you downtown.
Yeah, so I mean those games are really good and
they make you lactate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Splatterhouse was really good too. I mean, it got panned by most of the reviewers. They thought it was too crass. They thought it was too shitty, but it's got tons of blood in it. It's got a character that's like Jason with John Cena shorts, and it's got tons of wicked heavy metal like Mastodon and kick-ass bands that I love. So I think Splatterhouse is fantastic, and it has the old throwback Splatterhouses in it too. So I don't understand how a game like that gets panned by critics when it was pretty good.
When you talk about a game called Splatterhouse, when any reviewer talks about a game called Splatterhouse and they complain about the amount of gore in it, they opened the wrong fucking book, man.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you can't complain about it being crass and over the top when it's a game, like you said, called Splatterhouse.
Exactly. Like that doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's no different than reviewers with movies walking out of movies and saying that was the most horrid, most disgusting thing when it's supposed to be horrid and disgusting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like, getting a Barbie game and just, not knowing what to expect and getting disappointed. You know what you're getting into.
Yeah, there better be a convertible in there and Ken and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just it's like reviewing little kids games and trying to seriously do a review of a little kids game to an adult.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think that game was really beat up and it was an excellent action game. I really enjoyed myself with Splatterhouse as well.
Splatterhouse came out last year, correct? Or was it the year before?
Let me do a search. I think it's 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, and I mean, it took so long for that game to come out from where the last one left off. I think the third one was on the Sega Genesis. and it was fantastic as well. It was hard as fuck, and it was creepy. I remember all the cinematics, like it had those FMVs at the beginning of the levels, and it's talking about Jennifer smelling of rot of the grave. I mean, I was playing that game when I think it was probably like a very, very early teen, and that game terrified me at the time. And it's been a long time coming for them to make a sequel and kind of reboot the franchise. And I just hope that the shitty review scores that the last Splatterhouse received don't stop it from continuing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's always the worry.
Well, people, man, these fucking companies, they piss me off. They're catering to this, and I'm not downing it. I know you gentlemen like it.
You're going to drop Call of Duty, aren't you?
Yeah, but like, if you're catering to a society that has like and I'm not referring to you two, if you're catering to a society that has a 10-minute mental capacity, and all they want to do is, shoot shit, duck around corners, and camp out, then that's what they're going to make money. I mean, you put out a game like Splatterhouse that's different, that has some ideas. People are going to be like, what's this shit? They're catering towards kids. They're catering towards just people who don't want to put thought or much thought, I should say, into their games. Where, I mean, you guys have both told me on numerous occasions you don't just play first-person shooters. You don't just play. That might be your downtime where you're in the mood for like maybe just a mind-numbing game to run around and shoot shit, but you're not actually using your brain 100%, and that's fine. I play stuff like that all the time, but they need, it's like we become a dumbed-down society that just doesn't want to think or doesn't want to have something different because we're too afraid to get out of our box.
And I know it's funny that you mentioned that, because just the other night when GodzMassacre and I were playing Black Ops 2 online, we were amazed at the ranks and the levels of guys that were in the lobby with us. Like, I'm looking at guys that are on their 3rd and 4th prestige already, meaning that they've already got up to the level cap of 55 4 times. And I mean, I've already put 7, 8 hours, 10 hours into that game online, and I'm all of level 35. But, I mentioned, like, how the fuck do guys get so high of a level in that game so quickly? And another buddy of mine mentioned that, that game is their Madden. It's the game that comes out yearly. It's something that they look forward to for the entire year, and it is all they play. They stick on Call of Duty, and they will play that game from, November 7th or 8th or whenever it comes out, and they just play that game every single day, every night, yearly, and don't touch anything else.
It's crazy. And
I do not understand how anyone can play one single game for an entire year and just devote that much time and energy to it. Like, I need to be doing other stuff.
It's like those people who play Call of Duty that much are like professional assholes. Like they sit there and they play until they know the map inside and out, and then they just take out the entire map, the entire match, and they have fun doing it. And it would be so boring to me if I won every single match like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, it's, to be honest and to be fair, it's not just the Call of Duty franchise. It seems to be every shooter online that I've dipped into. Like, it's the same with Killzone 3 playing on the PlayStation. I mean, obviously I'm a huge fan of Killzone based on my handle and everything else, but the game to play on PlayStation 3 was very, very unpleasant for lots of the time because of the community and the people playing it. Like, it was just guys focused on trash talk and griefing and just bullshit the whole time. Like, it really seems like the lowest common denominator of intelligence is flocking to these types of games, and these are the ones selling and making the most money. So this is what the game industry is catering towards, year after year.
It's become the McDonald's of the game industry. I mean, not shooters, but games in general like that, like you're saying, come out every year. Everyone will eat them up. They're going to sit there and play it all the time. And then I had mentioned to you the other day, and I don't know GodzMassacre if you played it, but I know Hellghastly didn't. Shadowrun on 360 was people were all pissed off because it was initially an RPG, like a Dungeons and Dragons type game with dice, and they made it into an RPG on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. Then they ended up coming out with a first-person shooter on the 360 because Microsoft bought out the company, and they added magic. It was kind of like Counter-Strike, with magic and orcs and ogres and trolls and shit.
Weird.
And it was awesome because they took these very distinctive different elements, threw them together, and it worked. And it's a thinking man's game because you have to decide what kind of magic you want each round, what kind of weapons you want. Should I use the extra money to buy this, or do I really need that? Depending on how the other people are playing against you, you can use different things. But kind of like Counter-Strike or Team Fortress. But that game didn't do well at all, and people still to this day talk shit about it. But you go on, and there's still at least 3 to 5 games all the time playing because it has a niche community that still loves it. And I don't know if I could say the same for most first-person shooters that come out now in 3-4. I think Shadowrun's at least 4 years old. So if that in 4 years, are we going to see Black Ops 2 still have a bunch of people playing? Probably not.
Usually I find with Call of Duty and franchises like that, especially Call of Duty, when a new game comes out, it's all the rage for the first few months, and then guys will start bitching about how shitty the maps are, how unbalanced the guns are, how the community's glitching and hacking and exploiting and all this nonsense, and then they'll always jump back to the previous game from the year before.
They always do it.
So when Modern Warfare 3 came out, it was good for a while, and then, oh, it's shit. It's no good compared to Black Ops. Black Ops is way better. Now that Black Ops 2 has come out, guys will be playing it for a few months, and then they'll be talking about how it's shit and how they're going back to Modern Warfare 3 because of all these issues that they've uncovered. It's like after the fatigue sets in for 3 or 4 month period, they do drop them, and you notice that in the players and the server numbers for each guy is like it drops from like 800,000 to 400,000 to 200,000, and then so on and so on. So yeah, I mean, as Shadowrun was 4 years old and people are still playing it, people are still online, you're right, Mike. Like there's no way that it would be the same going back to, like, say, World at War, one of Treyarch's early Call of Duties that came out 4 years ago.
Yeah. I can't see it.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm sorry. I think I made us go off topic a bit, but I was kind of angry.
No, it's a good topic. I mean, it's something that obviously is on lots of people's minds, and I'm sure tons of people will agree with us.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So now we have to start fighting with each other so that we can make this an interesting podcast.
Fuck you, man. Call of Duty fucking rules, you fucking noobs.
Fuck that. Don't say noob. God,
That's Dylan's, that's GodzMassacre's kryptonite there. He absolutely hates when you say the word noob.
There's only one noob, and it's Noob Sabot.
Yeah.
Say it every time.
But that's your kryptonite, and my kryptonite is like when people say like bahaha and shit like that. That drives me absolutely up the fucking wall.
Oh, you mean when they type it?
Yeah, like when they type bahaha on Facebook, I want to strangle them. I want to reach through the computer and just punch them.
That's funny.
Yeah, we all have our little pet peeves, I guess.
At least
Definitely.
it's not. Have you ever spoken to someone from like an Asian place, Asian continent? If you speak to someone from like Korea or something, they don't say ha ha or baha. They say ki ki ki, la la la, lo lo lo. They use like different ones. And I remember a while ago I was playing Ultima Online, many moons ago when I was like very overweight and wouldn't get off the chair, and and if I could have had a toilet built into my computer chair years ago, I would have. And they had this guy, Ki Young, I used to play with on Ultima Online in my guild, and he was like, ka ka ka, la la la, lo lo. And I'm like, what are you saying? Are you laughing? Like, are you having a heart attack? Do you need something? And then he explained to me that over another. Yeah, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But in the other countries, they actually say different things to I guess, represent laughter or happiness or whatever.
Yeah, I guess with being online, it's hard to express that through, text typing and leet speak that's out there and emoticons and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
And as it continues, our grammar levels fall further and further.
Yeah, and then people wonder why when they come to other countries or come to, the States or Canada or whatever, they have such a problem speaking the language because there's so much bullshit slang and like ebonics and crap.
Well, yeah, like remember when I was talking to you, GodzMassacre, about Guild Wars, and I was trying to get you all hot and horny and interested in it so that you would jump online with me? And I was telling you about all the MMO speak that you're not familiar with because you never became an MMO geek like, some of the rest of us. But I was talking to you about like mezzing and pulling and mobs and all that shit, and you're like, I absolutely refuse to fucking speak like that.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, you have to, man, or they'll kick you out of the fucking club.
You'll be kicked out of the cool club, noob.
That's right.
Yeah.
You'll be fucking pwned and noobed out, yeah.
Yeah, that shit literally popped up overnight for me, and I don't understand it a bit.
I wasted many years in EverQuest, and I even when EverQuest came out, I know it's off topic, but I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was so into EverQuest, she would be like hanging out, and you want to go hang out and do stuff? I'm like, go away, go read a book. I'm questing for an epic item. Get out of my room, woman.
Go read a book. That's great.
Go and educate yourself. I'm grinding.
And she's like, I want to grind too. And you're like, too bad.
That's exactly it, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
But now I have a wife that I love. I'd never do that. I mean, I used to play Warcraft and stuff since I've been married, but I'm in the front room on the laptop playing Warcraft while we're watching a movie and doing family time.
Right.
like you were, GodzMassacre, when we played Diablo 3 together.
Oh, that was the most ridiculous setup I had going for that.
Didn't you have like fans blowing
Oh
on
man,
your
it was like using the shortest cord possible to the couch, so the cord's barely breaching the couch, and then there's a fan that has to be in a certain spot, and that has a really short cord too. So I'm just like tucked into the corner of the couch with my laptop on my lap, kind of lifting it up so the fan can get underneath of it, with a fan next to me. And yeah, it was the most retarded situation. It was annoying.
It was a really painful experience too, because whenever I would type him a message, he'd be like, "Can you please type in caps? I can't see it if it's a regular case," because his resolution was maxed out at like 800 by 600 or something.
That's great.
Yeah, it was awful, and not only that, but everything I was doing was on trackpad. So I'm like hunched over this keyboard, tapping on the trackpad nonstop.
Just like on Doom 3, ping, 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 ping.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. That was terrible.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead, man. I'm done.
I was going to say, speaking of Doom 3, I know you guys did a review on it, and I really enjoyed it, and I think that's kind of how I almost met you guys in a way, is watching your video on Doom 3. Doom 3 came out, and I didn't really play the one. I guess I didn't play the PC or Xbox one much. I think I did a little bit, and I used some codes and just hopped around levels. Do you feel that Doom 3 is a good representation of something that's like a thinking man's sort of first-person shooter, and that's why it didn't do so well with the BFG edition?
I don't know if it would be a thinking man's game as opposed to just old school mechanics in FPS that are no longer around. Like there's no loadouts, there's no customizing your class and all that stuff that's pretty much become the formula of success for every game since Modern Warfare 1 came out. If you release a FPS these days and you don't have a bunch of RPG elements like experience and leveling up and customizations built in, people are going to shit all over it. And so Doom 3, Doom 3, while it was a great game when it came out for the Xbox and for the PC, I never played it. GodzMassacre played it, didn't you? You finished it then?
Yeah, I did both PC and Xbox.
Yeah, and I mean you've been championing that game forever. Like the whole time we've been friends forever, talking about how Doom 3 was one of the games that it pretty much split the community when it came out. Some people loved it, some people hated it.
Because Half-Life 2 dropped at the exact same time, and people were all about Half-Life 2. And plain and simple, Half-Life 2 was less challenging, and Half-Life 2 was, it was comparing apples to oranges, really. In Doom 3, one thing about it is enemies can come at you from anywhere, and because they spawn in from hell.
Just like a fat woman at a buffet.
That's right.
Anywhere.
it's just, it keeps you on your toes constantly because there's always something spawning in behind you. There's something around the corner all the time, and it's hard, and you die very easily in it. And Half-Life was completely different, and it wasn't very challenging. And I mean, the levels were technically designed better in Half-Life, I get that, and some of the weapons were different and stuff too.
And you didn't have to switch out between a flashlight and a gun.
But that was awesome, though, and people complained about that, and I will honestly, I can count on one hand where I had to do that at all. And besides that, it was you see something with your flashlight, you take your gun out, and the flame of your guns lighten up what you're shooting at. So it really was never a problem to me. I never understood why people bitched and whined and moaned so much about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for what the original was, as I never played it myself, but when I was playing the Doom 3 BFG edition to do the review, I was thoroughly enjoying myself, and I thought the game looked really good for a an old game. That's, how old is it? 5-6 years old now?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
Is
it's
that
still,
it? It feels longer.
Yeah, well, that's what she said. it's still like looks awesome, and it's fun to play. It is old school, and I think overall it's aged well compared to some of the other stuff that's been released. And I mean, I know lots of guys shit on the BFG edition and said that there's tons of stuff that they omitted from the original, like they've changed how the shadows render off the flashlight, like when you see a monster or something, or even when you're walking around a room, the way your shadow hits different objects and surfaces, the way the flashlight hits it and makes shadows on the wall. Apparently that added to the tension and made the game scary and frightful and all that stuff in the original version, and that's been removed based on their new engine that they're using for this game. But I mean, those little things I don't think are huge gripes.
Yeah, they're pretty small.
Yeah, it's kind of nitpicking at that point, and I don't think it's really worried, right?
Yeah, and guess what? It came out in 2004.
2004,
Wow.
Yeah, so it's 8 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty insane. And I mean, for a game to stand up nowadays and be as enjoyable nowadays when it came out in 2004, I mean, that's saying something.
And I mean, it's still frightening, man. It still makes me jump out of my seat and make me shit my pants every time I go into a room.
Yeah. And it's constantly has a surprise around every corner, pretty much. And the other thing about it that is different, I think, than most games in general is it's worth every last note and everything you pick up. It's worth reading every one of them, and it really pulls you into the whole game when you're picking up different people's voice recordings and things like that.
Yeah, and like, because they always have information about like which passcodes to enter to open up different containers and things.
Exactly, yeah, it totally sucks you into the game in that respect.
Yeah, it is quite good, I agree.
But every Asian person looks exactly the same in it.
Every Asian person?
Yeah, they all look the same in the game.
I like that we touched on Asian people looking the same, Asian like lead speak, women. We're degrading women. This is going to be like the best. We're going to get thrown off of YouTube and just be labeled like racist, homophobic, like ass scumbags.
People will have the swastika and the triskelion and shit associated with our podcast. That'll be the official logo.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying Asians all look the same, but in that game, there's one Asian model, and apparently every scientist looks like that.
Well, yeah, and I understand that. Like, I mean, we do to them, and they do to us.
What I have a question, if you don't mind me segueing. What do you guys feel about the almost negative connotation or stigma associated with gaming as you get older? Like, I've told people, like, even at my job, like, they don't give me like shit for saying anything negative, but it's like, you're gonna play a game on your PSP on your lunch break, and like they like look at you like you're like 30, man. And I'm like, yes, I wear a suit to work every day. I'm married. Hypothetically, I could have children. I don't. You know, I rent an apartment. I have all my responsibilities and my ducks in a row, and so I play a video game for fun. You know, like, what do you do? Knit? Okay, you still like it?
Yeah.
So what do you
Yeah.
think about like the negative connotations and the stigma that goes along with gaming as you like reach your 20s and 30s?
Yeah, it's something that I've dealt with my whole life as well. I mean, there's certain, members of my family and people that I've associated with throughout my life always say, "Oh, when are you going to grow up, man? You're 30 now. It's time to grow up and not only, stop gaming, but stop listening to angry teenager music and heavy metal and things of that nature." I think there'll always be, those connotations around where they think that things that you love and things that you hold near and dear to your heart growing up becomes something childish and infantile and something that's frowned upon by other people as you grow up. It's unfortunate, but I mean, at the end of the day, you can choose, whether you want to be an old ass and boring and have a stick up your ass your whole life, or whether you just want to stay true to yourself and love the things that you love.
Girls just want to have fun, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper said it best. She's, 60 years old? She's probably still having fun.
That's
And
right.
if you're talking about the person I think you're talking about, I might have to hang up this call because I have a crush on her, and now you're saying that she thinks that she has a stick up her ass and that she doesn't like that you play games.
No, Cyndi Lauper
No, I'm
still
just kidding.
likes having fun.
No, not Cyndi Lauper. You said family members, and I know who you're referring to, so I'm just joking with you.
Oh no, it's not necessarily that particular individual, but it's I know other people. I mean, I've
I'm
met
just
tons
kidding.
of them.
I'm just kidding.
That's been my whole life too. It's like when people tell you, "Why don't you grow up?" or any of that kind of shit. I just want to punch them in the
your
jaw.
balls.
I just want to jack their jaw, man. There's nothing that pisses me off more than someone basically saying that they're better than me and that they've risen above my juvenile tastes.
Straight shot right to the ovaries.
That's right.
Yeah.
That just annoys me so much. I mean, that's the same thing. I mean, horror movies in general, people always think that it's like teenager movies or something, and I've never understood it. If it's good, it's good. It's good. If it's good when you're 14 years old, it's usually good when you're 24 years old and 30 years old.
And
75.
the cool 75. The cool part about that is if you're older and you go back and revisit something that you love, you see and notice different things and appreciate it in different ways.
Oh, definitely.
I find lots of times, more often than not, if I revisit stuff that I held sacred when I was young, now I play it as I'm older, and I'm like, this fucking sucks.
That
Link,
happens
you look
too,
like an
yeah.
idiot. Zelda, this is bullshit.
That's true too. That's true too. But I don't know. I just feel like people, not everyone obviously, but some people, family members for me too, have this look in them like, well, why are you playing games? It's like, well, I go to work, I do everything I have to do. You would never know, and why do I have to hide it? It's not like I'm smoking crack in my basement.
Yeah, that's right.
It's unfortunate that Stella Doro is so damn judgmental.
I know she is very judgmental.
You're recording again? Come on.
She was in the room when I started the Skype with you guys, and I was going to leave her in here, and I'm like, she's going to start screaming really loud, and it's just going to ruin the whole thing. So they're going to think I'm like murdering children while on the podcast, So I'm like, all right, forget it. I'll put her away.
She was probably done with the subject matter anyway. She's like, I'm out. I'm not hearing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Peace out.
Exactly. The cat's more famous than I am.
Indeed. But yeah, that's a good point too about how you do notice different things about games and also movies as you get older, because I have a little interesting story about Monster Squad in particular. Me and my sister used to watch it a ton when it first came out, when we were just young kids, 8 years old, 7 years old. We were always watching it, and there was a scene that was loading up, and at the very bottom of the screen it says present day, meaning, now, the time currently, as opposed to the past where it took place before. We always thought present day meant a day that only the US had, where you get presents.
That's awesome.
And I used to say to my sister, I'd be like, present day? Why the fuck don't we have that in Canada? That's bullshit.
They're leaving us out of this.
That's
Those
right.
fucking scumbags.
And then as you get older, you realize present day meant, holy shit, I had that all wrong. So yeah, some stuff does get better.
You know,
Oh,
I should have played it off when you just said that and been like, yeah, present day was 2 weeks ago. You guys didn't have it?
That's like when I was a kid. I used to watch like black and white movies and think that things were black and white back in the day.
That was before color hit the world.
That's right.
They still are black and white if you follow all the crappy race bullshit that goes on in the States. And I'm sure everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if a cat watches a film, is it black and white to cats? Because I've heard that cats don't see in color either.
I think cats and dogs do see in color. It's just a different shade. I know dogs can smell better and cats hear better. I know that. But now I'm getting off the point. But yeah, I think they see in some shades, certain shades.
Fuck, I've been misled again.
You see, present day, cat color, everything.
That's right. My whole life is a goddamn lie.
And you play video games, you childish bitch.
And I listen to metal. Just burn me now. Send me to Satan.
That's what's pissed me off because I mean, that's just it. It's like you have this love for this stuff and you dedicate a good portion of your life to it, and people just think it's a fucking joke.
Yeah. I mean, I have this friend at work, and we're very close, and she tells me how she has a son that's about 13, I believe, 12, 13, and he's, Call of Duty'd out. I mean, he buys all the new map packs, the zombie crap. Excuse me. Anytime anything comes out, he buys it. He breaks his mom's balls and his dad's balls, and they buy it. So she tells me this, and I said something to her once about playing games, and she's like, oh, you play them too? And I'm like, yeah, all the time. And I'm like, some of them are like good books. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you read a good book, it makes you think, you leave the book, you put the book down, you can't stop thinking about it. Maybe you read it and it's one thing to you, but it's another thing to someone else and you can talk. I said, a really good game really stimulates your senses or your brain, and it's like a good book. It kind of develops into a story, like especially RPGs and stuff. And she's like, really? I just thought they were just shooting shit and running around and cursing at each other. And, she was completely out of the loop because I guess with her generation, she's a little older than me. I think she's in her 40s. They really didn't have games, and what they had was probably like Pong. So,
or crib.
What'd you say?
Or crib.
What's crib?
Oh, we got a Canadianism.
What's crib?
Like when they play cribbage, that game on the board with the pegs that all the geezers at the retirement homes play.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm used to shuffleboard here. I don't know about cribbage much.
I think it's a different game.
Yeah, it is. I think it is. Oh, cribbage. Yes, I remember this. I'm looking at it now.
It's with cards and shit, I think, and pegs on a board. I'm not sure, but yeah, the knitting club plays it.
What'd you say?
The knitting club plays it. It's like a sewing game.
But yeah, it's like a good book. I mean, you sometimes you can't put them down. You sleep on it. And I was telling Hellghastly, I think this morning or yesterday, about like even Silent Hill, to go backwards a little bit. I'm playing them back to back to back. So now I'm up to Downpour, and I'm really enjoying it so far. But I'm at the beginning, and it started affecting my sleep. I started getting like, not dreams, but uneasy while I was sleeping, and then like hearing music from the game and like seeing things in my head before bed. So, for a game to actually do that to me and affect me, it did its job. I think if it can affect you in a good or a bad way, or make you, it's like good music. You hear something like, I'm just giving an example. I don't particularly love this guy, but Bob Dylan or Jimi Hendrix or some shit. You listen to it, and it evokes an emotion. Maybe it makes you cry or it makes you happy. Well, we don't cry here because we're men, so maybe it makes you happy, and it makes you want to kill things or whatever it is. It evokes an emotion, and I think if games do that, they really get their job done. And I think that games are losing that in a sense.
But I mean, any game that you spend prolonged amounts of time with and play continuously is going to like permeate your subconscious and be something that pops up while you're asleep. And I can attest to this because I was hooked like a bastard, like a fiend for crack on Modern Warfare 1 when it came out. Playing it online every night, probably for 6 hours a night, just going crazy on the shit. And from playing it so much that, it was just in my head. So when I went to bed at night, one particular evening, I was asleep and I had a dream that some terrorist from Call of Duty like burst into the bedroom and jumped on my wife in the bed beside me. And yeah, she awoke to me on top of her, slapping the shit out of her.
Oh my God.
And she looked at me and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I said, I'm saving you.
I'm saving you.
And she's like, saving me from what? And I was like, oh shit. I just kind of rolled over and went back to bed.
Yeah.
But that shit sticks in your head, man. And like, you'll be looking out a window, you see a neighbor in the window, and you're just so used to looking and seeing lining up shots in games like that. You're just like, yeah, I could make that shot.
That happened to me with a driving game, almost like a Twisted Metal. I don't remember what game it was. I think it was Burnout. And I had played it so much, like you crash into cars to get points, that I was driving down the block to the laundromat to drop off clothes. And I was like, oh man, I could fucking make a really hard left and bash into this Buick. Oh shit, what am I thinking of, man? I can't do that. It took me a split second. So I hope they don't tie violence in with video games because of our little commentary here.
And that's what happens with regular racing games too, like Gran Turismo, man. The more you play it, you start getting used to the lines of the road, and you're driving along and you're like, I could totally drift this corner. My line is perfect. I could just throw it right around this corner, no problem.
Yeah.
So, powerful stuff.
That happened to me the other night, not game-wise. I'm a big fan of The Exorcist, and I watched all of them actually in a row almost, and I watched 3, and the book was called Legion, and the movie's called Exorcist 3 because they wanted to tie it in, and the writer didn't want to tie it in. He wanted to call it Legion. Anyhow, I had this dream that Stella Doro again was jumping on the bed, and a spirit came out of her and went into me and possessed me.
Yeesh.
And I heard this loud voice of I am Legion, for we are many.
Jesus.
And I started like shaking in the bed and screaming because I wanted this demon out of me, and I thought I swore up and down I was possessed. Something was in me, something was wrong, and I was fucked up. My wife woke me up, and I laugh about this now, but she woke me up and she's like, wake up, and I finally get up after she said it was like 10 minutes, and I said, why didn't you wake me up faster? Like I was all mad at her, and she goes, I did. I said, why didn't you like touch me or hit me or move me? And she goes, I was hitting you the whole time. The only thing that woke you up was me saying your name.
Wow.
So I mean, I must have been in such a deep sleep, but I definitely agree with you that if you do something enough, the repetition or if it, permeates your subconscious, it really can fuck with you when you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys see the new Silent Hill movie, you're going to think about it every time you take a shit, too.
Yes, awesome. I just made a meme about that online, about bathrooms, because the Japanese have some fetish with bathrooms being evil because they could suck your soul through your butt. So that's why there's always like fucking obscure, weird, disgusting bathrooms in Silent Hill, and I didn't know that they base a lot of horror movies and stuff in bathrooms in Japan.
That makes sense because a lot of Asian movies have a lot of bathrooms in them. Never even thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's cool. But yeah, I posted a little meme up about how you go, like at my job, you go into the bathroom. It's a public restroom in a government municipality, and there's like rusty pipes on the wall, and the paint's peeling, and there's like stains on the urine stains on the floor everywhere, and it's like it looks like some like beginning of the Silent Hill where the paint starts peeling off the wall and everything starts getting fucked up.
Gross.
So yeah, welcome to the United States of America.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Sounds like a fucking dingy strip club the way I'm making it sound. It's not that bad, but
No.
It definitely permeated my subconscious enough to think about it while I was in a bathroom.
Yeah.
So what games are you guys looking forward to in the near future?
The Last of Us for PS3, and that's about it from me.
Yeah, I second that, man.
Who's that by? I've heard a lot about that lately. I forget it was like a big name company that's doing something different, right?
Yeah, it's done by Naughty Dog. They're the company that did Uncharted and did that whole series, and I think they did the Jax and Daxter games too, but I never played any of those, so I'm not sure.
Did they do Crash Bandicoot?
No, I think that was done by Sony's like exclusive studio themselves.
Oh, okay. You know what? You know what Naughty Dog did that I remember that I don't know if you guys will know it, but you'll laugh if you do. Oh, fuck me. What's it called? It's on 3DO. Way of the Warrior with the Rob Zombie music, the white zombie music in the background. It was like a Mortal Kombat ripoff.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a Mortal Kombat ripoff with really strange characters, and like none of it made sense, and the control sucked, and Naughty Dog ended up making it. And you're like, how did they go from like this Mortal Kombat ripoff to like you were saying like Jack and Daxter type stuff and fucking Uncharted. They did do Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and Team Racing.
Shit. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I wasn't a huge fan of the Crash Bandicoots when they came out. I was a bit too old for them at that point.
Yeah, me
There's
too.
parts of Resident Evil 6 that remind me of Crash Bandicoot.
How?
Feels like I'm playing Crash Bandicoot because it's like running towards the screen and you can't see what's in front of you and shit's chasing you.
Or like Uncharted 2.
Or like Uncharted 2.
There's lots of that in it. Like Uncharted 2 has tons of those scenes, like when the tank arrives and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, all those kind of. I mean, that's all basically a Crash Bandicoot.
Everything in life is Crash Bandicoot.
That's
True.
right. This
Anything
podcast has been brought
from
to
a
you by
front
Crash
POV.
Bandicoot.
Yeah. or having an animal in it that's furry. That's also Crash Bandicoot. Well, I guess that would be Sonic then, wouldn't it?
Sonic Bandicoot.
Sonic Bandicoot.
Yeah. Well, what games are you looking forward to coming out?
The only one I'm looking forward to, I love Phantasy Star Online, so I'm looking forward to the Vita version, and that's hitting Japan, I think, in March, and I'm hoping to get a Vita. As you know, that's all I've spoken about the past 3 days. You probably want to defriend me. I'm looking to get a Vita soon, and I want to get Phantasy Star eventually when it comes out, because I love the MMO atmosphere. You log on, you play with people, and you co-op the shit out of it, and the other thing is, they did this game, it's called Soul Sacrifice. It's coming out in Japan soon with an exclusive red, evil-looking Vita, which, you know, in the US we get bullshit, so we don't get the cool red one. But it's like some kind of game where think of like Dynasty Warriors or Monster Hunter or something, and if your teammates die, you have the option to sacrifice your own teammates and kill them, and then use their power to make you stronger, or you can heal them and they jump back up, but then they steal some of your life, so you either have to sacrifice yourself or them. Everything in the game is give and take.
Jesus.
So that's coming out on Vita, and they said that's coming to the US, and that looks really cool. But an Army of Two, the new Army of Two, even though that's just kind of a dumb shooter like we spoke about earlier, I like Army of Two. I like co-op games in that regard. So that as well, the Devil's Cartel.
I haven't played any of the Army of Two games. I've just seen reviews and pictures and videos of them and stuff. And they always look cool because the guys they have like some sort of like Riot Squad Jason mask type things on, don't they?
Yeah, they wear like, and the cool part about the last one, if you pick it up, we'll have to play it on 360. The last one you can make your own masks online with this like software they had, and then you could upload them to the game.
Well, that's
so and there's pre-made ones you can download from other people and you can trade. So I have a Mike Tyson one with his tattoo on his face. I got Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I mean, like they added some elements to it that were kind of an interesting concept, I thought.
That's
Really cool, man.
badass.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, GodzMassacre and I are huge fans of co-op and all sorts of customizations. I think the first thing you asked me when I was talking to you about Black Ops 2 and selling you on it was, do they still have the face paint in that?
Yeah.
I'm like, the face paint doesn't matter, dude. It's all the guns and shit.
When wrestling games come out, I literally take 8 hours to make myself.
Wow. Well, that's
Exactly.
good. You wear a mask all day anyway, right? So you like the little accessories. You're into the detail.
That's right.
Yeah, the wrestler you made in WWE 12 was so good. When you posted it as your Facebook profile picture, I was like, did GodzMassacre just get some new tattoos? Like, it looked exactly like you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I strive to get that because it's fun.
If only
That's
they'd
awesome.
fix the online so we could play it in a lag-free environment.
Yeah, has anyone heard if WWE 13 has lag free?
I don't know. I was telling Hellghastly, I think yesterday, that I have 12 and I don't even have the online pass because I bought it used. So I didn't.
You don't need
check
it.
You don't need it. It doesn't work anyway.
Yeah, right. I'm glad I didn't buy it then. That's bullshit. That fucking pisses me off big time. That bullshit with online passes.
Yeah. No game should be released that the online doesn't work.
Yeah, and then they make you pay for it separately if you buy it used.
It's kind of the same, the bait and switch of on-disc DLC as well, when
Yeah.
it's bullshit. It's like they're dipping into your wallet twice,
Well, like Resident Evil 6 just now. Fucking, I just saw online that they're gonna have DLC that you get Team Deathmatch basically on Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, they might as well make it Black Ops 2. That's selling.
Yeah, and
That was sarcasm, by the way.
I know, but it's true, and it's just stupid. Like any kind of deathmatch mode or any kind of like really crucial mode like that should be included in the fucking game. That's like what they might as well sell you a fucking game and not give you a character. You have to buy the fucking character to play it. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of that where you have to enter a specific code to unlock this character, and then if you buy it from this store, you get these pre-order bonuses as opposed to these ones. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all on disc, and it's all generated with those stupid DLC codes, so it's just total bullshit.
Yeah, it's already on the disc. You're just unlocking it by paying for it again.
Like Far Cry 3 was just announced to have exclusive DLC on the PS3 only. And we all know nothing stays exclusive forever.
No.
And it's going to hit the Xbox eventually, but it's just sales and marketing BS so that people flock to the PS3 versions.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that with everything. Mortal Kombat, I don't know if you guys played it, it was really good, but
Freddy Krueger?
yeah, Freddy Krueger fucking wasn't Kratos or Kratos in it
yes.
at one point. And they added fuck me, Blind Kenshi and someone else at one point. And I mean, I don't know if it was on the disc necessarily, but I always thought it was kind of a cop-out to make you pay for more shit like that, especially little shit.
Yeah, like classic costumes even for the original characters.
Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Like if I want to see Sub-Zero in a thong, I should not have to pay $5-10 extra just to get him thonged version.
Yeah, that's right.
It's bullshit. We should edit that out and put Sonya Blade's name in instead.
Yeah.
That's who I meant.
Yeah, sure. See what Call of Duty does? It rots your brain.
That's right.
It's awesome, though. I mean, when you go a game and you get like 30 kills and 15 deaths, you feel like you're the king of the world.
So are we talking about the Titanic now?
That's right.
That's great. Borderlands did that too. I was all excited. I mean, I love the game. It's definitely got quirks, but Borderlands is a great online shooter in my opinion, even though it got bashed to shit.
Did it get bashed?
Oh yeah, people hated it. I got actually 2 copies of it for free.
What?
Because
Really?
GameFly had, I'm a big cheapskate with games, so I'll wait months and months for them to get like $5 or $10. And
Me
GameFly
too.
had this. I know, I've heard that about you. Me and you share the same bloodline.
That's right.
The GameFly had this code, and the code fucked up, and it let you. I hope GameFly's not listening. I'll get sued. It let you.
Nobody's listening, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So sad. It let you pick out 2 games and get $10 off, but Borderlands was only $5 each, so you get 2 of them for free shipped to your house.
To rent?
So, no, to buy.
To buy.
Yeah, you can buy from GameFly. Once they have excess stock, they sell. I'm not a member, but I do buy GameFly games.
Yeah, we don't have that here. We just have Tim Hortons in Canada.
Oh yeah, it's the donut place, right?
Right.
My sister-in-law told me about that. She said the guy was hitting on her and he was all like funny and nice and give her free donuts. I said, yeah, it's not all he wanted to give you.
Exactly. That's not.
You know how those Canadians are.
That's right. He wanted to douse you in maple syrup and eat some bacon off you.
Exactly. But Borderlands did that too. They GameStop gave away some kind of potato sack helmet and like a weird T-shirt, and then if you bought it from Best Buy, you had a Doom T-shirt and a Doom helmet. I mean, it was purely aesthetic. It wasn't doing anything, and I think so. I mean, maybe there was guns. There might have been actually guns that were different, but then eventually they just dropped them all online and said, "Hey, you want this? $10." And you're like, why the fuck would I pay $10 for some stupid shit like that?
Yeah, that's true.
They just try and nickel and dime everyone now, especially with used game sales going up and talks about consoles constantly being online because they want to be able to monitor what you're doing, and you have to own the, a new version of the game. You can't own a pre-owned copy to play online anymore, and it's just going to be really bad in the next few years. I hope it's not. I hope I'm wrong.
There was even talk of the next generation of consoles. I don't think it's legit anymore, but it was pretty much like, yeah, the next gen of consoles is going to be discless. Yeah, just all digital format.
Oh, God, I dread that. I don't like digital. I like tangible things in my hands.
That's right, I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it makes you feel like you own something. Like, even I watched a video the other day, and they were saying certain games on Xbox Live, if you buy them, and then your internet goes out, and you want to play, you're like, oh, fuck me, my internet's out, and you turn on your system and you go to play. I think it was like certain Sega games and stuff, or Golden Axe, I know, was one of them. They don't work. It only comes up with the demo with the first level unless you have internet access to prove that you own the game.
Oh, that's bullshit.
And it's like, well, what the fuck do I own then?
Yeah.
So, they're just the consumer is getting screwed over at this point most of the time.
And there's lots of problems too with Xbox Live's, games on demand service that they run. I noticed that tons of the games that you buy off of games on demand are way, way higher priced than the exact same game in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
I think you're going to Zellers, man.
Yeah, I mean, you get no book, you get no physical disc. You don't get anything with the game when you buy it on games on demand. So why is it more expensive?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend who made a game for Xbox and submitted it. It took him months and months and years, and he finally got it up there.
Which one is it?
It's called Gingerbread Holiday. It's kind of a it's 99 cents, so if you do want to check that out, I own that. We could play. Oh, no, that's not online, I don't think. It's only local. It's like a local co-op game where you have to this is going to sound really weird. You have to squeeze
That's weird already.
yeah, it's like your avatar's on the screen, and you have to squeeze frosting, like those frosting tip things on like gingerbread houses and shit, and you have to put certain amounts of different types of candy on each house, and these like elves are flying by on sleighs, and you have to grab the presents and open them to get the candy from the elves, and then like Krampus flies by and steals your presents. Do you know who Krampus is? Yeah. So it's open-ended. It's pretty interesting. It's just, kind of kiddie.
Was he that evil Dutch Santa Claus that you posted, GodzMassacre?
Yeah, man.
He's fucking awesome. If we had that in the States, man, it would be so much better. These kids wouldn't grow up and be crackheads. I would love it.
Yeah.
All right, well, that just about ends our Gravecast for this bi-weekly segment. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the next edition. I am Hellghastly.
I'm GodzMassacre from the depths.
And I'm Vampyre Mike from SegaCDUniverse.com and GravesideEntertainment.com now.
Thanks a lot for listening, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.